Yeah.
How you doing,
Now
brother?
I'm doing very well. How are you? Thanks
I'm
for
doing,
inviting me.
it's my pleasure and my honor to have you on here. And it's been quite a while since we connected. It's been a couple of years.
No kidding.
And you've grown quite a majestic beard in the meantime.
Yeah, it's a funny story of that. It's like I was all into straight razor shaving for dozen years, literally, and I shaved every day. I had a little thing about shaving. I love to shave,
Yeah.
and then we went down for our anniversary. We went down to Santa Barbara a year and a half ago, and I just decided not to shave because it's like just take a break. And then after a week, Tracy goes, "Oh, I really like that. That looks really good." And it's like, okay, let's see if I can go a little more and go a little more. And like, the more it grew in, the more she liked it.
Yeah.
So, and then once I got past the itchy part, I thought like, oh, let's see this go and see how far it could go. And now it's like a year and a half I haven't shaved.
Right.
I mean, I've trimmed it a little bit, but it's like now pun intended, it's growing on me.
It feels good, doesn't it?
It's strange. I haven't had a beard in 40 years. And,
well, it suits you.
Oh, thank you. People seem to like it. The more it covers up my face, the better,
That's it, right? You don't have to wear a mask anymore.
It back. Well, yeah, I still have the less it grows back here, the more it grows back. This I can't control, but that I can control. No, it's interesting. It's, and knowing me, I don't do anything halfway. So if I'm going to grow a beard, I'm going to grow a big beard.
Yes. This is true. This is something that I know something about you, that you're very clear cut and you like to do things very well. So
yeah. So I was going to do it. So here it is. And now it's like, who knows? People think, well, what do you do with your razors? I just polish them and I keep them oiled and I play with them. But eventually I'll shave again, probably, but I miss it. I actually I love my straight razors. I love sharpening them and playing with them, but this is great. So for now, that's good. But I also gained about, was like 2 years.
2 years ago since you came.
Yeah, I've gained about 12 pounds too. So that's a little different also. So I'm really happy with that too.
You put 12 pounds on your frame.
Yeah, exactly. And most of it's muscle. I mean, there's a little body fat, but basically on the same percentage of body fat I was back then. But, all the upper body work and heavy swings that's really put a lot of meat on me. So I'm happy about that too.
Incredible.
I'm right where I want to be weight wise.
Awesome. And I've been following your stuff for, since the beginning.
Yeah.
I just want to put our viewers into context here who we're talking to. You're one of the kettlebell pioneers, and you opened the first kettlebell gym in the US. That's correct?
Yeah. Giri, the Art of Strength. It was Giri Strength, but it was called Giri, the Art of Strength in 2003.
Yeah.
And there was no one else.
Amazing. And you've been doing that stuff ever since, and revolutionizing kettlebells since then. You've been quoted numerous times in Pavel's books, and you're a strong first master instructor.
Yes. Very proud of all of that. I always love, seeing something I said in Pavel's books. It always gives me a thrill, even after all these years and all the books. It's an honor and a pleasure. And it just always makes me feel great to see that, so it's always good. And strong first, the basic principles, it's everything I agree with, everything I love. So it's like, it's a natural fit.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Riff, I want to ask you a few things. I want to talk to you, about strength training, what you've been doing lately. Also want to talk to you about your body maintenance and the benefits of body maintenance and when to do this. I know
Where do you want to start?
You've been working on the overhead press for quite a while. I think over 3 years, I believe.
7 years.
Just 7 years.
7 years.
And you recently hit a 100-kilogram press with a barbell, which is just outstanding.
Thank you. I'm very proud of it.
What are the strategies that you use to achieve this? Like, I mean, it must have been like climbing a mountain.
Well, it was, and it's I have all these 30-second videos on my YouTube channel. I got thousands of videos on my YouTube channel, and because I video a little bit of everything because I want to do the analysis of it. It's mainly for me because somehow I have 3,000 subscribers, but I get no views because it's like boring. But it's always been for me, just to go back and analyze my techniques and my mistakes and my whatever I'm doing right, whatever I'm doing wrong. And I have the first videos that I did basically with 65 pounds for 5 reps. And I was very happy. And I couldn't touch the bar to my chest. You know, I couldn't get my bar. My shoulders and chest were so tight, which ties into body maintenance. And we'll go back to that. But when I first started, I mean, literally it was, 65 pounds for 5. And I was very happy because I couldn't press at all. Like kettlebell press, I had really bad bicep impingement. And this is all started after my knee replacement. So my overhead position, strangely enough, after my knee replacement, couldn't snatch, couldn't do a handstand anymore. And my shoulder didn't like any pressing, but I could do push-ups. And I thought, well, maybe, the single arm, the kettlebell isn't working. Maybe I'll try the barbell just on a whim. And it was okay. It was way out front. And, it still is. My shoulder is still not, it's orthopedically damaged. That's what finished my gymnastics career. So there's, the shoulder, I need a shoulder replacement, but it didn't hurt. So I started and it's a very, one of the things about me is I'm very simple in my approaches. I'm just very, it's all about consistent progressions.
Yes.
So it was all the basis of my improvement was nothing more than the triple progression system that I wrote about for StrongFirst. It's very simple. It was 5 sets of 5. I did it twice a week. I did no other exercises. I didn't do special exercises. I didn't do specialized variety. I just wanted a very simple approach. I knew I could kind of game the system if I really, wanted to in terms of specialized variety and stuff like that. But I just wanted to see how far it would take me. And it was
the simplicity.
Right. I mean, it's my swing training is just very simple. Everything I do, when I left Westside Barbell Training and Powerlifting, part of the reasons I left was because they got so complicated. They were weighing band tension, and you needed a calculator, and you needed a math degree to figure this out. And it's like it just didn't interest me. I mean, nothing that was wrong. It's just not my personality. It was too complicated.
You could get lost in the you could go down the rabbit hole very quickly with all those details.
And one of the reasons I loved it in the beginning was the simplicity, straight percentages, really simple exercises. It wasn't complicated. So when I started doing this, that's just what the approach is: 5 sets of 5. And triple progression is you could use any sets and rep combinations. It could be 3 sets of 10, 10 sets of 10. It doesn't matter. It's just like StrongFirst, right? It's all about principles. And that's an important concept for me in that, people talk about going down the rabbit hole. People focus too much, in my opinion, on programming and methods, right? What's the name? Everybody loves, if you put a name on it, it's great. If you don't have a name, people will ignore it. But it's really, if you get a really cool name, that's all that matters, not all that matters, but it really helps. And mine was just very boring. It's the same with body maintenance. I think the name kills it. People, it's like body maintenance. What the hell is that? And people have told me that, even when I opened up Giria, Tracy's like, why are you calling it that? That's stupid. Nobody knows. I said, I don't care. I love the stupid kettlebell. I'm calling it Giria. At the time, I didn't need any more clients. I'm calling it Giria. And then people thought it was for a lamb sandwich restaurant, No, really, gyro or whatever. It's like people came in. You're not selling sandwiches. No, it's Russian kettlebell. Okay.
Selling strength.
But, yeah, right. And in the beginning, for me, the kettlebell was about, and this goes to my basic philosophy, it's about work capacity. I mean, I left powerlifting because I was so banged up, and it's just by the only barbell move I do is the press, only because it doesn't hurt me. I don't barbell squat. I don't barbell deadlift because, one of the things I always say is the barbell always wins. You can always put more weight on the bar. Yeah. Kettlebell, you have to figure out it's about work capacity.
Sure.
Which I think is way more relevant to regular people's lives, my life too, in general than, how heavy you can lift for one rep. This just happened to be right for me after all these years. So
now you used to power lift.
Oh yeah.
13 you used years. To bodybuild. Mm-hmm. You were in gymnastics.
Yep.
And you're also into ultra marathons.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. I just got back from a 2-hour ruck just before we did this. And that's my, my endurance training. And I love it. I love it. Rucking to me is like the kettlebell. It builds you. It doesn't beat you. You know, it's just, I can go out there and I can walk around. I just have a dirt path park 2 blocks from my house, and I just walk laps, like swim laps, right?
And you keep going.
Yeah, it builds me up. It doesn't break me down. The barbell, with squats and deadlifts, you're always on a tightrope.
You have to be careful. Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, the press, for whatever reason, I mean, I could go into it, but it's boring. It doesn't hurt me. I mean, I literally could press every day. My back, people see my arch and say, oh, then it hurts your back. Actually, it's very therapeutic for my back, for my specific back injury and back needs.
Sure.
It's literally the best thing I could do for my back. It's like bridges. Right?
Brings you into extension.
I'm flexion dominant person. I'm built that way. And that's where my herniation was. So I need extension.
Right.
I do a lot of back bends over stability balls to create extension, but this loading in extension was just literally what the doctor ordered. So the progressions with, I wrote it down. I did a post. I can't remember. I have it somewhere. Basically,
I read the article recently, actually,
about the progressions of the press.
Yeah. And you started with, I believe it was either 5 sets of 2 or, so you start with 5 by 5 and then you do that strongly. And then when you feel that, okay, you could repeat it at least twice, then you can increase the weight. And even if you do, 5 sets of 2, and even if you're just doing singles, you can build up like that.
Well, that's the essence of triple progression is sets, reps, weight. So whatever, like I say it's 5 by 5 because it's easy to think about. Once you achieve that strongly, then you go sets, reps, weight. So once I can do 5 sets, that's the first goal. 5 sets of 1, 5 sets of 2, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then reps. My goal was 5 by 5. So I would do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, say. I wouldn't change anything until I do 5 by 5. Sets, reps, weight. Once I could do all my sets, all my reps, then I bump the weight up and start over. I mean, it took me, I look back now at like between 100 and, my first goal was just plates on the bar. It's like, oh my God, if I could do, 135, I'd be happy. And I was. And then of course it kept going and going and going. Like I did 100 kilos. I did exactly. Because you're supposed to be smarter. That's why not, but I won't get into that. Once I did 100 kilos, but my real big dream goal is 2 plates. So now I'm back to, banging around on trying to get 2 plates because but once I do 2 plates, I'm done in terms of progression.
Right.
I want to maintain that, but I have no designs for 250 or 260. It just doesn't interest me. 2 plates is symbolic,
The top.
Yeah, that's all I need. And who's doing that at 63 years old and 175 pounds? Nobody.
I've never heard of it before.
No, I've checked. Nobody's doing it. But that was the whole thing. It took me between, 135 and 150. It took me 6 months or 5 months between, all the way. It took me a year between 190 and 200. And then it took me, from 195 to 210. It's a slow, boring process, which is what eliminates most people's progress is they can't hang.
They don't have the patience. Now, let me ask you, in terms of progression, like you're looking for 1 rep a week to increase 1 rep a week, at least if you're doing 5 by 5 or trying to reach up.
Sure. So I'm working with a very good old friend of mine, Joe Sardi, and his goal is double beast press. This kid is one of the strongest pressers. He's a natural presser. And he's done the beast press single, and I think he's done double 40s or double 44s, but like he's on triple progression. And what he did last week, I think was 2 sets of 4 and 3 sets of 3. So next week will be 3 sets of 4 and 2 sets of 3, then 4 sets of 4 and 1 set of 3. Then once he gets 5 by 4, he puts a rep there on the first 5, and then try to hang on. So ideally, I want that first set to be my, if I jump, like if I've done double 32s for 5 by 5 and I'm jumping to 36, I want 1 set of the next rep, right? So it could be 4 to 5, 3 to 4, whatever it is. And then I just hang on. And then 1 rep a week ideal. Like sometimes you come in and you feel great. And you can get, a 2 set increase for the new rep.
Right.
And sometimes you feel like, oh, God,
I know, take that.
Bad. Oh, absolutely. One of the things I try to do is I don't try to force anything. Mm-hmm. because again, it's the long haul. It's
And
hanging in for the long
if
haul.
you come in one day and you're just not feeling it, what are your options? Are you going to try to repeat last week's, or will you deload, or?
Yeah, well, it obviously depends how weak I feel or how messed up. If I had no sleep, if if you're tweaked, it's one thing, then you really back off. But if you're not tweaked and you're just tired, you at least try to replicate what you did last week. And and I have that, and I have a light day. So my light day is usually about 70% of my heavy day. So for the longest time, I did these 5x5s. And then once I think I got up to, I went up to a body weight, which was 170 for 5x5. And then it became very apparent that, and I would, after I would do these, then I would peak, I'd do 5x5, then 3x3, then I would try to do singles, which is a very classic powerlifting strategy. You do your progressive 5s, 3s, 1s. Mm-hmm. Then I realized that the military, well, it's not a military press. I call it an overhead press, because everybody says, well, your shoulders aren't back enough and you're arching too much. So I just call it an overhead press. It's still over my head. It's very much over my head. I've lost it over the back a couple times. It's over my head. So what was I saying? So I have, so the 5x5 was great for building my muscle base and building a base of repetition strength. But I realized pretty soon, after numerous attempts trying to do my single, it didn't convert. Mm. So I started just focusing on triples, and that's still, the military press is very much like the deadlift. It's all feed forward tension.
Right.
And this is where most people get in trouble, because the standing press. Is because you don't get to lower the weight before you raise it. And that's huge. Like when you take it off, you just have to have perfect tension from dead stop. And a lot of guys, and I have a lot of problems with this, you can do whatever you want. I don't care. But if you started here and you drop and bounce it, it's not the same. You might as well. I mean, I could probably do 20 pounds more starting here, drop and pop. It's like, can you touch and go your bench more than you can pause?
Of course.
Right. So, I mean, it's nothing wrong with touch and go, but it's not a pause press.
It's not
a pause bench. And in competition, it doesn't count, mm-hmm. which is a whole nother story. But it doesn't count. So I take issue with that. Let's see what you can do from a dead stop. And one of the big breakthrough things for me is when my training partner, Glenn Fortin, basically said, well, let me give you a press call. And I would just take the weight. And because I always you're always trying to cheat, right? You're always trying to go as fast as you can and get some momentum, because there's no damn momentum, right? It's a dead stop, and it's very hard to initiate. So he would give me a press call, and that relieved all the issues of me having to think about when to go. I'd wait, and that worked like a charm. So, I just started training singles. Like my heavy day is literally just singles. I go up and I do it just like I would think. I have 3 attempts in a meet. I'll have 3 attempts to make my new weight. Then if I make it or I don't, I go down and do some heavy down sets for another 3 to 5 singles. And then my light day is my rep day.
Got it.
So that's them building muscle, and I play with that. But the triple progression it can work for anything, because again, it's principle based. It's not a method. It's mm-hmm. a principle. You can plug it into whatever, you want to do push-ups, you want to do pull-ups, you want to do deadlifts, you want to do 5 sets of 1. It doesn't matter. So that's worked for like Ed Cashin.
In your article, I was reading that you took a guy from 36 kilo to pressing the beast in 7 months, I believe.
That's Ed Cashin. I was just going to tell you that story. And he used it religiously, and he did that. He uses with his students a lot. And he's taken, I think has females that are doing 28 using that progression. So, I mean, it's this, the 5x5 is as old as the hills, this whole concept. And in the article, it's not my invention, but I recognized it works, and I kind of organized it in a certain way. But it's, it works really, really well. It's not the only system, but it's certainly, it throttles you back. Right? So you can't go to the next weight until you've cleared this weight for this sets and this reps. And then you know you own that weight. That's 25 reps with a weight's a lot of reps.
Yeah, with 80%, 85%.
Right.
It's probably the sweet spot in volume.
It's a hard number to calculate in terms of volume, simply because if 5 by 5 is your 100%. Mm-hmm. So you're doing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's the percentage? Percentages are a moving feast, because, it's like when I trained Westside, Louis would always say, you always percentage, but he'd say, like, if you're not basing your percentages off a weight that you've done like the last couple months, it ain't your max. If you tell me what your max was, 5 years ago, my max, it ain't your max right now, buddy. You squatted whatever, you benched whatever 3 years ago, 6 years ago, 1 year ago. It ain't where you are now.
No,
so
it's current.
You have to know where you are, because as you know, that goes up and down a lot. So,
and you just have to be mindful, be able to track things and assess how your body feels. And
there's so much about technique. I mean, especially the press, but any heavy lift, especially for singles, that's one of the things. People are afraid of singles, and people have this feeling that you're going to get hurt doing singles. It's a, strength's a skill, right? Basic strong first tenet, and singles are a skill. I've never, ever bought into the idea that 5s will convert to 1s. Never. I've never seen it. I mean, what I have seen a lot is guy go like, I squatted 300 for 5. I'm good for 350. It's like, no, you're not. And this goes back to Westside and Louis. It's like, if you want to, doesn't matter, say squat 350. If none of your training repetitions have 350 pounds or more force on that bar, you're not going to do it. So if you do a 300 pound for 5 and your first rep has 340 and your second rep has 330 and 320, 310 and 300, which will make the bar go, but you've never surpassed 350 pounds of force on the bar, guess what? You can't produce 350 pounds of force. It's all just that math and physics. So singles let you know exactly how much force you can produce, because you're going to miss.
Correct.
And, again, what's your game? If your game is, you want to max absolute strength, you better be very intimate with single reps.
You'll have to find a way to convert those 5s to, down to 1 eventually.
Well, traditionally it's 5 by 5, then 3 by 3, then you do a single cycle, right? Or 2s. But people do that all the time and they always miss. They don't know why, because they've never learned to put. And then that's the other component. Like I have a light day where I want maximum acceleration on the bar. I'll take 70% and I'll just move it as fast as I can. With the press, it's more about technique, because the press is like sumo deadlift. It's like walking on a stupid tightrope, No, it's like I don't see anybody has any margin for error, because that bar, if it moves a millimeter in front of your center line, you can I spent a lot of time, just trying to pull the bar back in so I can go upwards. But once you lose that upward momentum, it's like, you're done. You're
the one going around the bar.
Right.
Pretty much. So
yeah, the bar has to move straight. You have to go around the bar, but that bar with the press, here's the other analogy that I really love. And this made it very clear. It's like, why is this so stinking hard? The higher I get, the worse it is. Like most lifts, the higher you get, the better your leverage. So my business partner explained, and he used a great analogy. It's like, imagine you're building a snowman. How do you build a snowman? The base is big, and each part of the snowman gets tinier, right? Military press is an inverted snowman. The higher it goes, the heavier it is. How easy would an inverted snowman topple over?
Well, I see now your point, because it changes your center of mass dramatically the higher it goes.
Right.
With the weight, you just...
And here's the other thing. It's like people tell me about their press. It's like, and with no false modesty, okay? Until you press over body weight, don't talk to me. Because it all changes over your own body weight. Because if you're building that inverted snowman with more than your body weight, you have no margin for error. That's one of the things. The 100 kilo, I'm most proud of it. It's 25% over my body weight. There's a couple people, the obvious, like Klokov and guys like that, are just not human. They're doing 50% over body weight. But generally speaking, you know, if people can do body weight, it's a big deal. And you going 5% or 10% over body weight, that's a big deal. But, you know, the higher that goes, and if you watch people press, and I've watched lots of people press, and it's all the same, they lose it a little bit in your balance, because the higher it goes, the broader that the base of that snowman gets, and it's sitting on a very tiny base.
Correct.
So it's
you got to be well rooted.
Yeah.
You've got to be a pillar. You've got to be a pillar all around.
Well, it's, you know, I started off like, I like to swing with my Olympic lifting shoes, and I tried that originally, and then I came to realize that the best thing for me is barefoot, because I can root, and you know, the Vibrams are great.
The Vibrams, I was gonna say.
No, they're not my favorite footwear because they're so goofy looking, but they work. So you got to use what works.
You got to use what works.
Yeah, you got to use what works, and that's what most people fall down to. They don't want to do what they need to do to make progress. They want to do what they're doing and hope it works. It's like, okay.
You wrote a nice quote a few weeks ago, something along the lines of you'd rather train to accomplish something like about random tasks, if you remember what.
Right. Yeah, I think most people would rather do what they want to do than make progress. And I was very much like when I was a bodybuilder. You know, a lot of people want to train every day because they love training. They got demons to kill. They like the feeling of it, but they'd rather do that. If I told you, okay, so here's the deal, Luca, I'm telling you, if you could make all your goals happen, but you only get to train once every 12 days for an hour, that's it. But I promise you, you do this once every 12 days for 1 hour, no more, would you do it?
Probably because I'm a lazy type of trainer.
Okay. Well,
I like to rest, you know.
I'm getting there, but I think most people, well, let's put this with the exercise addicts, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
They'd rather, I want to go to the gym.
Train more. They want to train more.
I was like that. I
think more is better.
Well, what got me into powerlifting, when I originally thought about going into powerlifting, traditional powerlifting was like 2 sets. Like you work up to a top 2 sets, you go home. It's like, I'm not doing that. I was a bodybuilder. I was training twice a day, 2 hours each session, right? 6 days a week. I love to train. And coming off of gymnastics, which was like 5 hours, 6 hours a day, 7 days, 6 days a week, I was training addict, right? So powerlifting, like 2 sets. But then I found Westside, which is all about volume. Like, oh, I can buy into that. But I think most people would rather do what they like to do than make progress.
Right. I understand.
Yeah. And that's what that was posted about. It's like, you know, most people talk the talk, but they won't walk the talk because it's expensive. You know, are you willing to do what's necessary to make progress? Or are you just want to talk about making progress? You want to go to bed 8 o'clock at night. You want to eat your meals. You want to take your supplements. You want to make sure you're hydrated. You want to have, you know, all the stuff that's necessary for recovery. Are you planning your gym? Do you take the time to mentally rehearse your workout? No, I want to go in the gym. I want to kick ass, turn some tunes on, and, you know, smoke it. You know. Well,
I see that a lot. You know, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I also believe it's about education. And knowing that there's a better way. But again, it depends on where you're at.
Right. As long as you enjoy what you're doing. But people, the thing that bugs me is when people say, I'm not making progress. And they're frustrated at not making progress. They say, well, are you doing all these things? And it's like, no. It's like, well, I'm not surprised you're not making progress. You stay up late. You don't eat correctly. You don't focus on recovery. You don't do any of the things that are necessary. And, you know, that may work when you're first new and you're a year or two into the game and you do anything with a weight and you make progress. But then once it slows down, it's like, okay, are you willing to pay the price? And it's like, if it's no, it's no. I have no judgment about anybody's training, you know, but just you know, don't pretend, there's a saying, don't peel my leg and tell me it's raining, you know.
I see a lot of people, that we're talking about they're training, but they're not really getting anywhere. They're training in order to be immediately gratified by the workout. And that's,
see, I don't consider that training. I consider that exercise, which is fine. That's exercise. Exercise has no goal other than the end of that workout. You're going to break a sweat, burn some calories, whatever. That's exercise. And considering most people don't even exercise, that's great. But training to me is always about, goals and deadline and progressions. And once you're satisfied with where you are, that's great. But just be aware of are you making a conscious decision, or are you playing pretend? Are you making a conscious decision that I'm satisfied with where I am? I don't, like, for me, once I get 2 plates, I'm not chasing any more weight. I want to be able to do that, but I'll stay at maintenance at that. That's fine. So I won't be surprised when I can't do 250, because I'm not going to try to go there. That's all. Just be aware and make a conscious decision about what you're doing, so you're not frustrated. Like, people they're frustrated they're not losing weight. Well, are you counting calories? No. Okay. Are you eating consciously? No. Are you doing why are you surprised you're not losing weight? I mean, I've gained, I went from where I was with you, like I was probably 168 when I was there. I mean, 160 when I was there, to 175 now. And I consciously did that because I knew it would take me, I'd have to be 175 to press 225. But I'm not going to go to 180, because I consciously added in those calories and that protein, and I changed my eating to get there. Like when we're talking about your press goals, right? Like what is it that I asked you? I said, do you want to press it at what's your body weight? 65 kilos?
Yeah, I'm under $145.
Right. I said, do you want to press it at that weight, or do you want to press it? That's exactly what we're talking about. Do you want to do, are you willing to do what it takes to press it? Well, that means gain weight. It's like people who want to run. Like when I was a runner, going back to my ultra stuff, it's like I looked at all the best runners, and there was no 5'5" guys that were 165 that were running ultras. They're all 130.
You got to be like that. Yeah.
I got to be light. So
that's part of the game.
And that's taking all the different components, and that's being a professional to me. It's like most people, this is something they do. It's a hobby. It's a sideline, and I'm good with that. That's just not me. This is all I've done all my life.
You do what needs to be done to accomplish your goal.
Right. And I enjoy that. If you don't enjoy it, don't do it. I enjoy that. I enjoy being able to manipulate the variables and have control over. I mean, there's so few things in life we have any control over. It's like I have some control over my body and my training and my actions. So I take that.
Mm-hmm. It seems like you're doing everything around your workouts. Like your day is based around your training.
My life revolves around my workouts.
Yeah, your life. That's it. So,
dude, since I was 14 years old. No, this is me. Since I was 14 years old, I'm going to be 64. My life has revolved around my training. I moved all over the country to train with different people in different environments. I moved to Colorado to train at altitude. I moved to New Mexico to train in the hills. I moved different places. I only took certain jobs because it would allow me to train. I mean, all the things that I did, and then still relationships, everything that I did revolved around my training comes first.
Yes.
It always has. And it's just me. I'm not advocating it. It's like some people do it, some people don't. Some people have that towards their job. Some people, I always wanted to be a professional athlete. I knew I wanted to train, and that was my calling. And but here's the thing. When I was young like that, I was more than willing to be poor. Most people want to be rich and train all the time. I was like, well, you let me know how that works out. I couldn't figure it out. So, because if you want to be rich, usually it takes everything, and your whole life has to revolve around making money. So whatever your goal is, you got to be willing to pay the price. For me, it's like, I don't go out, I don't travel much. I'm focused on my neck. Like today, I've already, during my ruck today, I spent the whole ruck basically visualizing 2 plates. I'm thinking about tomorrow's workout. So, I mean, that's, like I said, I enjoy that. And if you don't enjoy that, you won't do it because,
of course,
it's not fun all the time, but it's, staying, missing. How many times did I miss 220? I missed that for, 8 months before I made it. Right.
Right. Now, when you say miss, I mean, you've tried and you failed, and you have to try it and see if you can get it up. Now, along the way, have you gotten any, dings, injuries, trying to press that weight?
No, that's the thing. If I did, I wouldn't do it. I'm completely, having been injured since I was 17, right, with my knee, and then, my shoulder in college, and then my back and all these other little injuries. Well, they weren't little injuries, big injuries. And then having my knee replaced, I'm not willing to tolerate anything that hurts me. So that's part of what the exercise selection I have, the exercises I've chosen that are my main courses of my meal, right? So I have swings and I have presses and I have rucking. Those are my swing, press, ruck.
But I've seen you do pistols lately and snatches.
Right. Those aren't main courses.
It's just
assistance access. I do side raises for my shoulder health. I do my snatches for my shoulder health. I do my pistols as part of my my knee rehab. So those are definitely, like, if you look at, like I have my blog and I write down all my workouts like I have since 2004. You'll notice my assistance exercises, they're not progressive.
Yeah. You just
lightly, if it's like I went from the 15s to the 20s, but I do 3 sets and I just make sure they get done because I know it's important for shoulder stability. The pistols, I did double front squats. I tried a whole litany of different leg exercises, trying to find the best leg exercise to keep my knee replaced leg strong. And it came down to pistols. But I only do 4 sets, 3 or 4 sets, and that's it. I'm not pushing. I've done a couple. Well, I've done a couple unsupported, unspotted pistols, and that's like, okay, but I'm not. It's not a big goal. So the big goal is the rucking and the one arm swings. And when I did the 48 kilo sinister test, that took center stage. I wasn't making as much progress in my press because that was center stage.
Got it.
And then once I accomplished that, then I started focusing, okay, I want to press 200 pounds. Up until then, I was doing the presses, but it was certainly not my mental focus.
Very interesting. You said something center stage because you can't get good at everything. You have to have maybe one or 2 focus max, and then that's it. Keep improving.
Exactly. Because again, we're going to go right into the body maintenance and the recovery thing from here. It's like, it's not what you can do in the gym. It's what you can recover from. And so how do you know you recovered? You're making progress.
Correct.
You're not making progress, you're not recovered. If you come into the gym
something's off.
Right. But something's off, whether it's a technical thing, but basically, if you can't repeat last week's workout, then something you didn't recover from it. So generally speaking. So yeah, if I'm trying to, max out my swing training and max out my press training and max out my rucking, and you only have so much recovery ability, especially as you get older. So, you have to pick. Now you can, like I said, I trained my swing training for 4 or 5 years. That was my center stage till I did it. It took me a long time to get to that 48 kilo one arm swing test. That was horrible. I never want to do that again. It was just miserable.
It's not repeatable. It's not repeatable.
Well, it is if you had enough money, if you gave me enough money. But I had taken it with the 32, the 36, the 40, the 44, and the 48. And after I did the 44, I was 100% convinced I would never be able to finish it with the 48. The 44 was so hard. It's like, I felt like it was impossible. And then, I speak with Pavel pretty frequently, and we were talking about it. And this is when strong endurance was coming up, which really is such a smart approach. But he was asking me, like, okay, well, what's your diet like? And I wasn't a big meat eater at the time, not because I don't like meat. it's not my favorite thing. I was eating a lot of dairy and yogurt. I've always loved that.
You fast, I believe.
I did fast more up until I started trying to gain weight for the press. Now I still basically fast, but I added like I'd always had, I came on with Warrior Diet with Ori, and Ori had like, you can have some light vegetables
protein
or
in between.
Just something that doesn't disrupt your insulin. So I always had almonds, but then I started adding in a protein bar, and I started eating earlier because I was trying to gain weight. So I still get up at 3:45 in the morning, have coffee with cream, and I'll have almonds and a protein bar at 9 o'clock. And then I don't eat I still eat between like 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock window. But he was asking me about that, and I was like, well, no, I'm not. And he realized I wasn't getting enough iron because the iron carries the oxygen with the hemoglobin. So the meat's important for red meat, for the red blood cells and the oxygen. And then I wasn't getting enough creatine. So I added creatine in. I started eating red meat. Now I'm like a red meat freak.
Supplement with creatine daily.
Oh yeah, and the creatine made a big difference, and so did the red meat. So
really?
It was huge. It was an amazing difference instantly, both the red meat and the creatine.
This is for your swings, or would you say overall strength as well?
Well, it's overall strength endurance, in the sense of like, if you're taking the snatch test or you're doing the Sinister test, if you're doing strength endurance, you have to have that oxygen carrying capacity.
Right.
So what I realized is, like, if you're low on iron, and red meat's the best source of iron, the iron is what carries the oxygen molecule. So maybe I had some red meat once a week, but now then I started eating literally every day. It became my main protein source instead of eggs. My eggs were my big protein source. So I switched it out, and bang. And then I added 5 grams of creatine in it. Bang. It was like overnight, my endurance went up. And that's
very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Pavel's so smart.
Now, on another note, you swing quite heavy. Like, you go up to 68 kilos.
Yeah.
I've seen.
Yeah.
And what would you say are the benefits of going that heavy?
Because
the
benefits?
I mean, you're swinging those with one arm. You're swinging 68 with one arm.
Yeah, I know. It's very cool.
Lots of sets.
Well, I only do 3 sets with it. I do 7 sets. I cycle all my swing weights, right? So week 1 is 40 kilo for 10 sets of 10 and 10, which is my most hated workout. Hate it. That was my prep work for the Sinister swing test. Can I get some more hot water, please? So the second week, I'll take the 44 and I'll go 10 sets of 8 and 8. And then the 48, which I did yesterday, 10 sets of 6 and 6. And then next week, I'll swing the 60 for 7 sets of 5 and 5. And I just kind of tack on 3 sets of 5 and 5 with the 68. It's an ego thing. Here's the thing. I've caught a lot of flack because I do these heavy swings and they're low. And what people don't get is, like, when I started training the 48 kilo, I could only swing it to about basically the same height that I'm swinging the 68 now. Mm-hmm. And now I can swing the 48 this high. Right. It's just a form of overload, right? So first thing, it really strengthened my grip. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, when I first started doing it, it's like, if I stepped on the gas any heavier, that bell would rip out of my hand. So the heavy bells really strengthen my grip. And even though it doesn't look like I'm swinging it, well, I'm not swinging that high, but it doesn't look like I'm swinging it that powerfully. I'm trying to move it as fast as I can. So what happens is that overload, when I come back down to the other bells, they fly because it's relative, right? It's overload.
I bet.
So the 68 makes everything else feel lighter. And that's the main reason I do it, besides the fact that no one else can do it. Almost nobody else can do it at my weight or my age. And I like that. Well, you got to remember, I mean, when I got into this, I got into, kettlebells in 2001, and I had Geary at 2003. I was seriously injured. I was seriously injured. I was basically crippled between my knee and my back. And I did all those years of teaching for RKC and then Strong First, broken. And I'm limping around the field, and everybody's like, oh, it's that old man. He can't do anything. It's like, yeah, tell me your stories about what you used to do, old man. And it's like, in my heart, it hurt because like, I know if I had been healthy, let's go. I'm a competitor, man. I mean, I've competed all my life since I got on, I was 14 years old. I competed as a gymnast. I competed as a powerlifter. I competed as a bodybuilder. I competed as a runner. I like to compete. I like to win, or at least do my best. I like to try, right?
Of course.
And I was walking around feeling like an old cripple, and it just chewed at me. Then I got my knee. I'm like, oh, let's see what I can do. And again, I'm not going to get injured. I'm not that stupid anymore. But I pick the things that I can do really well. And I like being able to do things that other people can't do or won't do. It's just satisfying. So it's like, it's like the heavy swings or the heavy presses. Like, again, though, I'm not going to get hurt. I'm not that egotistic, but I just feels very satisfying now to do things that people had basically written me off. Like, he's just an old beat up guy, and with his old war stories and what do they say? What have you done for me lately? It's like, okay, here it is. You do it. So that's a lot of it.
Now you're like a souped up muscle car.
Exactly. That's the goal, right? That's the goal. And it's like, again, I'm not buying a 75 kilo, I'm not buying a 68 kilo? I'm not buying a 75 kilo bell. I'm not buying a 90 kilo bell. Like, man's got to know his limitations.
Yeah,
I know my limitations. This is enough. And to be honest, I could never swing the 68 again. I'd be fine. 60 kilos, plenty heavy enough.
Yeah. It's just for overload.
When I can swing the 60 kilo high enough, as high as I can to 48 now, then I mean, that's fine. I just do it because it's there, and it's why not?
And it's fun.
It's a lot of, here's the other thing. It strengthens me mentally more than anything, because I'm scared. Because I can't hurt myself on that. It's like, dude, focus.
Yes.
This can go south in a second. Focus your mind. One of the things I said is like, if you're bored, it's not heavy enough. You should be scared.
Yeah. Should get your attention.
It gets my attention. I only do it once a month, but it gets my attention, and it just makes all the other stuff I have to do easier, because I'm really training my mind, and I'm bringing, like, okay, it'll show you all the flaws in your technique. It's like part of the thing. It's like, my swing technique is designed to create maximum force on the bell, not to create a pretty shape in my body. I don't, it's like people look, well, you wear Olympic shoes. Like, that makes me stronger. I've spent plenty of time barefoot. I have, and I do. But the swing gives me better leverage with my shoe. The shoe gives me better leverage with my swing, so I wear it. The technique that I use is proven itself to allow me to create maximum force. Mm-hmm. Now, it may not look pretty, or it may not look standard. I don't care. I do it because the proof of the pudding's in the eating. It looks good. Does it taste good? If my technique's wrong, I won't be able to produce performance. Performance is the true arbiter of technique. You can have my one of my favorite sayings, it's all easy till it's heavy, came from my bad attempts to do sumo, because I was a wide stance squatter, and technically it made perfect sense. I should sumo deadlift. It's safer. The mechanics are right. But I was a 500-pound deadlifter. I got to 365. I couldn't get it off the floor. Like, okay, that's not my technique. So it can look pretty. What does Pavel say? Well, this isn't exactly the quote, but it's like, who cares if you throw 1,000 punches if none of them can knock out your little sister?
Right.
Right. Does it produce? Does it work? That's the one you want to focus on. So that's what I go with. Like, the technique, does it prove itself under stress? It stays. Like, my back used to hurt much more. My back used to get super tight, even with the one-arm swings with flat-footed, because I was more hamstring and glute dominant. This way, it allows me to use my legs more. So when I come off, like I did those, I did 120 one-arm swings of the beast yesterday. I came out, my back felt like I hadn't done anything.
Wow.
And that's my goal. I don't want to be sore. I don't want to feel anything after a workout.
You want to be able to do stuff tomorrow.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And then I have to ruck, and then tomorrow I have to press. So it's like, this is my 3-day focused weekend. That's what my weekends are for. People are like, well, you want to do some of the weekend? It's like, no, my weekends are training. I train on weekends, man.
Let's go to the beach. Let's go on vacation. Sorry.
You go. I'm fine. I'm
right.
Staying home. I'm training. It's like, I'm not asking you to do it, but don't ask me to go out because I'm not going out.
And when's the last time you took some time off from training, or let's say a week or a couple weeks?
When I had my knee replaced.
Really, eh? Which has been a few years ago.
7 years.
7 years. And you've been consistently training every week.
I have not missed one scheduled workout. Can you remember when I skipped a workout, honey? I don't.
Wow.
I mean, it's
incredible.
40 something years.
Incredible.
Never. We've been married coming on 33 years. I've never skipped a workout. Now I've been in the hospital.
Right.
Or I travel.
When you travel, yes.
I don't train. I don't train when I travel. So that's the only time I skip. Like if I'm.
There has never ever been a thought, I'm going to skip.
Yeah, I've never. She says like it's never been a thought like, oh, I don't feel like training today. That's the one question. It never even bubbles in my head. Never ever do I ask myself, do I feel like it? Because I don't feel like it. Who wants to do it? I know what it's going to be. I know it's going to suck. I know it's going to be hard. So I never even ask the question. It's like, what time is it? It's time to train. Go in. Suit up, show up, do your best. What else can you do? And some of my best workouts, without fail, have been the workouts I felt the least like doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't, again, because I really make sure that I'm ready for my next workout. So when I finish one workout, it's like, and physically, and that's where the recovery thing is. Like, am I dehydrated? Am I hydrated? Do I have enough protein? Do I have enough calories? Do I need more rest? Do I need more stretching, more body maintenance? And body maintenance, it's a great segue because the body maintenance has really allowed me to find the small little things that are going to grow into problems and get rid of them right away. And that's the essence of body maintenance. It's truly an assessment, a daily assessment of where is your joint range of motion and what's the tissue quality. And the tissue quality is, for me, everything. Are you stiff? Is the tissue ground? Is it raw meat or is it beef jerky?
Beef jerky.
If it's beef jerky, it's going to come and bite you.
And these days, how much time do you spend on your body maintenance? Would it be on after training, a little bit before?
It's always first thing in the morning. It's always like I get up at like I said, 3:45 and I'm on the roller at 4:30. And it's usually at this point now, because I'm so far ahead of it, it's 15 minutes to go through my full body assessment and roll. Occasionally something is a little wonky. Ironically, most of the wonkiness comes from sitting at my computer, not my training, my neck and my shoulder. Right. But I would say 15 to 20 minutes in the morning is that usually it. And then sometimes in the afternoons, if something's particularly not right. So another maybe 10, 15 minutes, but it's not, I stretch all day long. I'm a big fan now that I can squat and both knees bent. I'm always, sitting into a squat position and just stretching. I'm always making sure my hip flexors are open. I'm always like, I'm always kind of checking my body and doing an assessment. Oh, my hamstrings feel tight. Okay. I put my leg up and it takes nothing now because, I just do it so regularly.
Your body so well.
Yeah, but I do, but it's only because I pay attention, right? People don't pay attention. It's nothing magical. It's like, pay attention. Like you're sitting like this. It's like, why are you sitting like this? Oh, I didn't even know. It's like, well, pay attention.
We're just so disconnected, unfortunately, to our bodies.
But we don't have to be. It's like the first thing is like, again, it all comes back to what are your goals? And and again, one of the biggest strong first principles that I'm a huge fan of, cramp, is reverse engineering. Like I always, whatever my new goal is, I look at the best. When I started pressing, I started looking at videos of Klokov and all these guys. Like, I'm not Klokov, but what can I learn from Klokov? What can I learn from all these guys that are doing it right? And I just kind of, okay, I can start here.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I want to learn from people that suck? Who cares what the 10th place guy is doing? I don't care. I mean, maybe there's something he's doing that could relate to me, but for the most part, I want to see what the best are doing, right, and try to figure out how that applies to me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, Riff, I definitely look at you as being one of the best. So I believe that there was a lot of gems here today, what you talked about, and it was amazing, amazing life experience, just to say the least.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm honored as always. I can't wait. Maybe one day I'll get back up and see your new club. It looks great from where I can see it now.
Thank you,
when
sir.
all this madness is over, we'll get to travel again. I miss that.
We'll definitely have you back, and you and Tracy.
Oh, yeah.
We want you guys back here.
That'd be great. Can't wait. We had a great time. And thanks again for having me on. I'm honored, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Likewise. You've been a scholar and a gentleman.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Take care.
Take care and enjoy your day.
You too.
Bye.